Hello, everybody. This is Sudeshna from Mark Business Transformation. A warm welcome to all you change leaders out there. Thank you for joining the webinar. Today, in our series of this Change Management as a Career, we have with us Krzysztof Ogonowski from Poland. He's woken up very early in the morning to attend this one for us. Hi, Krzysztof.
Hi, Sudeshna. Hello, everyone. Good morning.
So to introduce Krzysztof, I don't know where to start from, but yes, he's firstly he's the CEO of Silfra, the Prosci partner in Eastern Europe. He has been in his career, so he's an advanced Prosci instructor, having certified more than now 1,500 participants, and still going strong there. And in his 20 years of his career, he has been in organizations associated with larger organizations and leaders in capacity of an instructor, as a consultant, as an advisor in change, project, and leadership. He has worked in both state-owned as well as your private organizations across the domains of IT, shared services, manufacturing, and the list goes on again. So he's also into teaching and coaching of incumbents in MBA and project management. And he has been one of the founding members of ACMP, one of the founding members of the project management chapter in Poland, and an ICC coach, and now an international speaker. Across continents, we see him doing his speeches. And personally, he supports a lot of charities. He's a dog lover, and he's very passionate about NHL, and he is into diving. So we know how he chooses his vacation locations. So we are aware of that. Personally, I find him as somebody who's very warm and a very good listener, and comes up with great ideas, full of ideas he is. In fact, it was one of our brainstorming sessions that we came up with the theme of change management as a career. So, hello, Krzysztof.
Hi, Sudeshna. Hello again. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Still morning in most of our locations, I guess.
Okay, straight into, we introduced, from your introduction, from your experience, you have worked with various roles. Like you have worked with HR, you've worked with project managers, you worked with so many leaders from different domains. And also you worked with working with freshers and experienced senior management as well. So when we talk about change management, where do you think the interest and competence sits for change management?
I think that the interest itself, sometimes it's unconscious. Because, for example, leaders are interested in having results, but they sometimes don't know that the devil lies in details of managing the people side of change. So that's one thing. And I observed it through the first, let's say, 10 years of my consulting career. I also was not aware that I'm doing changes. I have been introducing changes, and I thought it was projects. So I was more focused on projects, but then I realized that with systematic and with structured approach to change, like for projects, we can benefit. And for example, I could run 4 projects at the same time instead of 2 projects when I learned how to do the people side of change in a more systematic way. So I think for many people, it is like the awakening moment when we realize that it brings value, that it can be done better, and it can be done better in some specific way. So I think everyone who is implementing things impacting people can get interest, and people get the interest in various moments of their career, in various moments of their company life cycles. So, for example, we're going to talk a lot about Prosci numbers because we are representing Prosci, but still we are representing Prosci because we believe in this approach. And I think these are really meaningful numbers. So, for example, and of course, you know, Sudeshna, the research, the latest research that Prosci published last year, it took like 2,600 cases So out of those cases, there are IT software upgrade projects, culture change projects, ERP implementation projects, electronic data interchange projects, reorganization, CRM, new product development, HR. So virtually any aspect of the company that is bringing new ways of working, ERP, introducing AI, whatever it will be, it is. So the interest is everywhere, in fact, but not always, and not with all people, depending simply on the awareness of and the moment in the organization, I would say.
Okay. And I feel like, as you said, like the interest comes with people mostly where I have seen in change management is where who are comfortable with ambiguity, right?
Yes.
That is a must.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And for example, we all know Microsoft. Microsoft went through great pivot a few years ago when they started saying, instead of we know everything, we want to learn everything. And they became a cloud-based company, and now everything is cloud-based, in fact, in software, or is going to be. So for them, for example, the turning point and the huge interest in change management was when they realized that without good adoption, they will not have customers and they will not have revenue. So that's for the business. And I think more and more companies realize it in this way. And then this ambiguity that you mentioned, yes, that's right. That's the thing we live in. It's ambiguity is our normal, let's say, state of mind. So we rest on the go, you can say. Well, we rest while running, and still you can learn how to do it. So we can say that all the moments of change and transformation in the company life, new business models, the needs for transformation, it also is the awakening moment, but it's not connected with something nice. It's usually connected with some shake,
burning platform.
Yes, exactly. And of course, again, we can refer to those projects. Then HR people are very prone for change management. I'm running postgraduate classes on HR business partner programs. They are really very much into changes. Even if they don't know, they are asked. If they don't know what change management means, they are asked to support management, line managers, also like IT sector, also like finance roles, and everything, and lean management, organization design, technology, whatever you mentioned, it's just the interest is there, especially when the money is there. So
that way. So like in your experience, have you seen journeys of people who have become have taken up change management as a role, maybe part-time or full-time, but it forms a huge chunk of their role? Yeah.
Yes. I have a couple of examples. Like let me take HR business partner first. I remember the person who was HR business partner on my postgraduate class. Then after the class about change management, she just voluntarily went to her management board, and she said, guys, I think I can do more. I would like to help some projects on production, because it was a manufacturing company. And she was given some continuous improvement projects, not as a project manager, but as a person who was supporting a continuous improvement team, because those guys were struggling with implementing the ideas. And she helped them on the change management side. And then she was given a very interesting project of merging or integrating the company that a Polish company took over in Germany, because this is a Polish company, but operating worldwide. And again, thanks to change management, she was telling me that it was really very challenging, because German culture usually take over Polish culture, not the other way around. So it was cultural thing. It was also the thing that they knew little about the business of this German company, the imagination, the thinking about what the state of business in this German company was just very much different from the reality. So still, she said, thanks to my change management sense, I could just win the project. And now, then she became some higher figure in terms of hierarchy in the company. And now she's in a new company, just made another step in the career. So we can say that she was not officially mentioned as a change manager, but she was change practitioner, and she was bringing the value to the business, to the manufacturing. Another case is the person the salesperson in IT, whom I remember, let me not mention the name of the company because we all know some of those companies. And again, she became customer success manager. Thanks to the company push for adoption for change management, she got certified. She started to do some help for customers, and then she realized, I like it. And her bosses realized she's good at it. So she was given more and more responsible tasks, and now she's customer success manager. So you can say she's a strategic change manager. She's not advising hands-on, because I'm working with her. Sometimes she takes me for projects, saying like, okay, let's do some hands-on work with your team, Chris. But she's more strategic, helping customers to shape the strategy for change management. And another person who was product manager in financial organization, in this organization, we were supporting creation of change management office. She was first change practitioner, then she became the head of this change management office, and she proved to be really effective supporting and running this change management office for the benefit of the transformation of the company. And now she was given change and project management office for global level of her company, because this is company located in Poland, but part of international, and still she became the head of international structure. So it's career on different level. And last but not least, I would like to mention a person from finance industry for shared service, manufacturing company, but having shared service. This person was first finance expert, accountant, was RPA expert, because was given the task to implement some robotic process automation projects. And then she became change practitioner, and she runs now other change practitioners. So she's officially change practitioner. Of course, the company changes the names, because I think having in mind, and I believe that this company also is present on your market. Again, I will not mention the name, but still it's a good example of, and she's doing international projects, so with various time zones. So these are evident cases of careers, people who got hard for it, who are interested in that, and who showed more than they were expected to show. So I think for me, the lesson from it is just go for it. If it's your talent, that's a great thing, but show more than you are expected first, and then you will be noticed, because then I come back to what I mentioned at the beginning. Leaders, sometimes they don't understand, and they don't realize how big value is in change management. They know they are missing something, but they don't have good answer for that. So whoever of you, ladies and gentlemen, have this opportunity in the organization, that your leaders are circling around, and just trying to find what to do to be successful, just go there and maybe just bring some ideas, because you may be really high, have really high way to your career within 2 or 3 years, really to be visible in the organization. So that's really great way of doing this.
As change management professionals, we do realize the importance of the role. But since you spoke of leaders, I'm saying, how do you think organizations in Europe and US, do they recognize the importance of it being a dedicated resource, a dedicated role, a dedicated department?
Yes, sometimes in a more structured way, sometimes in a hard way. I remember the case of insurance company. It's a global company, and it is headquartered in the US. And the reason they created change management permanent jobs was because the insurance industry was expected to go through turbulent times. It was like 2017, 19. And the board was asked by analysts and by investors, because it's public listed company. They were asked, how are you prepared for the future? How are you prepared for those changes? So that was their long-term strategic initiative to get prepared for the changes. The guy who was the head of, at that time, project and change management office, he told me, I was hired, but with no clear purpose. I mean, they told me, do something about it. We don't know what it should be, what it should look like. So he had some consulting experience, and he helped the company to shape it with permanent change management roles. But still, the ask was the business reason, and the ask was not let's create change management capability, let's create permanent roles, but just let's do something, let's fix it. And another example I can give you from a company that is headquartered in Central Eastern Europe, and we are supporting it currently with ERP implementation. when the project was starting, they had 0.8 FTE on change management, and they even didn't call it change management. It's still called business adoption, because change management is the term that is reserved for IT. They have their change management team for software, so they are not allowed to use anything but business adoption. And now there are 14 FTE working on this project in change management, which means the business adoption team. So again, Sudeshna, we can say the company learned it in a hard way, that the project was postponed, the project was delayed also because lack of adoption and lack of preparation. And luckily they noticed that, they realized that, and they allowed this 0.8 FTE to become the head of business adoption team. She's very aware person. She has good receptive sponsor. The sponsor is CFO of the company, and he convinced the board to make permanent role. So probably it will be in this company. This is example of many companies. I think there will be some roles that are coming and going, like external consultants to fix the thing. But there will be some roles that will stay in the company, and there are a few people who are prepared for longer term roles in the company for other projects. So yes, companies appreciate it more and more. And when you look into industries again that are implementing management, is healthcare, is GBS, shared services, it's financial industry, it's also very much in US and especially Western countries in Europe, it's governmental sector. So that's really a very important consumer of change management. And also manufacturing, also oil and gas. Really, if I miss some industries, it means I just didn't name them. But it's just whatever you think about big companies, they are using this, of course, IT and technology. And I can give you an example of SAP. For example, again, SAP is going massively towards cloud solutions. They are replacing cloud solutions with cloud solutions. They're replacing on-premise solutions, and you can just dispute whether it's good for customers or not. But this is their strategic direction. And for example, people in SAP are rewarded from cloud booking only. Even HR people are rewarded for that. So what cloud booking means? It means that you need to be able to transform customers' organizations, because you don't customize the system to customers' processes. You really change the other way around. You transform customers' process to the system setup. So it's pure transformation. And even I heard that in some of those types of projects, and it's not in Europe yet, but more in US, the person who is responsible for business adoption is responsible for the whole project or program. The person who is responsible for technical implementation is just a stream leader. So even to that extent, change management need is visible. And in more and more organizations, yes, it is a permanent position. Like I would say 25 years ago, little companies in Europe knew what project management was. Now everyone has every company has a title project managers and job roles project managers. In change management, it has been since 5, 10, 15 years, depending whether it was Europe or US. So still we have more and more job roles and permanent positions. Yes, that's right.
Okay, I see some questions coming
yes.
for the audience. We'll take all the questions in the last 15 minutes for sure. But in our discussion, if we find anything relevant, we would definitely include. In fact, we received a few questions earlier, and since Krzysztof is speaking of industries, I'm inducting one of those questions. Somebody asked the relevance of change management in IT service industry.
Yes, I think always numbers speak for itself. So 1/3 at least of our participants of our change management classes are IT people or from technology. And over the last 20 years, I have numbers from this, that's why I can tell you, I have something like 7,000 students of postgraduate programs on project management. And again, 1/3, and now even sometimes half of those people are from IT, from technology, or are implementing technological solutions at customers' organizations, even if they are not they don't call themselves IT people, but still they are implementing those solutions. And when I talk to them about change management, is the eye opener. So again, I can say that people from technology, from IT say, we didn't know it can be structured. We didn't know that you could put numbers on the cloud of emotions and on the psychological thing that they call, because especially IT people, they need structure. Even, the founder of Prosci, the guy who created AdCar model, Jeffrey Hyatt, he was IT engineer, and he was frustrated with his software not being used. And based on that, he started asking himself questions, why people use software, why they don't use it. And he realized it's not because software is good or bad, it's because people don't want or don't like, or both, to use it. So that's exactly the way many technological companies approach it. And I mentioned Microsoft, I mentioned SAP, but also with Oracle and any other company, like you can imagine, big vendor, they go for a change management. Even if they don't call it officially like that, they have methodologies and tools that are embedded into their implementation practices. And then partners of those companies are also learning change management because they know that it's a requirement. So yes, absolutely, change management and business adoption, especially if we name it,
Yes.
is relevant for IT. And I think, Sadeshna, here we should touch the topic of go live, because I think it's the magical term. And even if we say, guys, about iterative approach, of course, we have mini go lives. We can say still go live term, even in agile world, is valid. And we can say that more and more IT companies, they realize that the go live is not the end of the project, but is some point in the adoption process. And the adoption needs to start before adoption, which means so that the users are willing and prepared to use the tool, and then so that they are continuously reinforced after implementation to use it, and the knowledge stays in the organization. But for IT, it's very natural to get interest in business adoption because it creates value of using the tool. And so with CRM, you can imagine how it works. Like when you have a CRM and salespeople don't use it, you just get money thrown away because you just don't get return. You don't have cross-sell and upsell that you were expected from that. You don't retain the knowledge in the organization. Lose customers when you lose salespeople. So that's obvious business value. And for any type of software, you can say this. Of course, when you look at ERP implementations, there are many ERP implementations that are not done well on project management side or on software side, but less and less and more it's on the change management, on business adoption. For example, stakeholders cannot agree on some key things. Is it project management? Is it change management? I don't care, and people don't mind it. Whatever it is, you need to do this. And usually what I saw is that more and more project managers, they are admitting we cannot handle that. We need some more tools for that. So change management helps also to bring some concepts. And again, it doesn't matter whatever we call it, but of course, it creates a demand for our work. So that's definitely.
Absolutely. So while talking about organizations and the importance, we can understand well that shift of realizing that benefit realization happens with adoption, and hence, and maybe the first step is to have that one FT doing a dedicated job on change management. But what do you see the scene of CMO or the project management offices are there now, change management offices are there. So what is your take? What's that doing in US and Europe?
Again, it's always good, even when we talk about adult learning, we talk about attaching something new to something we know already. And it's very frequent that what we know is PMO, and the new thing is change management office or change management functional group, or what we know is HR function in the organization, and change management is the new. So the new thing is attached to the thing that is already working in the organization, and it's grown there. So more and more organizations, they realize that they need something like permanent competency. They don't even call it a team, because I think more and more companies realize they don't need fixed costs now, and they're very reluctant to increasing FTE, and especially FTE, additional FTE on something which is puffy and fluffy like change management. Why the heck to show this in the books of the company? So they start usually small, but they realize quickly that for some bigger projects permanent role is needed. So you need not only consultant to install this function, because it's always it happens very frequently that it starts from there, but they need somebody permanently who will take it over and then run this competency. And I think exactly, if you guys would like to understand how the process works and then tell your internal stakeholders like executives and the board how it should work, it's very similar to creating PMO. Change management requires change management. Change management requires strong sponsorship. And if there is a person on executive level in the company that sees the value, then that's the starting point. So first is the business need. There is someone who can do it, and there is someone who can sponsor it in the organization. And I can give you an example of the financial organization that we've been working for CMO. Exactly, it should have been located in PMO. It should have been located under the executive and the board member of operations who was supervising the PMO, but it wouldn't have been a good idea, because PMO was well developed and change management was new. So it would be like killed, like, a big tree is killing a small plant that is growing under the tree. So first it was grown in the organization, and really kudos to and respect to CHRO, who convinced even us to locate change management office under her. And from now on, because she grew it, and then she passed it to PMO, but she grew it to to the age of teenager, and those teenager, let's say in brackets, could deliver some decent value. Like in sports, you can say teenager in sports sometimes is really a tremendous player already in senior team. So it became such a senior, league teenager who could deliver value, and then it could be a good, well contributing to the business part of PMO. So in this case, I tell everyone, like, start with a sponsor who has a heart for it, regardless of whoever it is from the board, but still this person will pass the torch and will bring the torch to other board members, and will just convince for more budget. So yes, definitely more and more permanent structures are visible. Still companies are hesitating how to formulate it, how to build organization around it. But for example, just the shift that we observe, and again, it's in Prosci research visible, that more organizations sometimes ago located change management competency in HR, and now are locating in PMO, but say you need to be careful in your organization, because my observation was, for example, sometimes PMO and project management people were asking change managers to fix whatever they could not fix. Like I remember one funny request to organize English classes for the project team, because the project team was not not good English speakers enough. So the project manager didn't have time to do this. So asked a change practitioner to deal with English classes, because it's like growing people. So okay, that's just you could treat it as a joke. But yes, of course, change management people are thrown on some tasks that are really sometimes ridiculous, not bringing value from change management perspective. So we need to be careful what we are doing to deliver value. But that's another story and another question probably. So let's stop at this point.
So coming back to the role again. So what roles do you think are better poised to take up, or rather we can take it as, what do you need to be a good change manager? What do you need?
Well, I think, guys, imagine your executive, any that you have been recently working for, and try to recall the conversation that you had. And I can just also share my thoughts from those conversations that I'm having with my clients, and sometimes when I'm just bringing the new idea in the pre-project phase or during the project. So what they want me to be sure of is that I know what the project is about. I can, for example, challenge them on the impact on this project on the organization. I can bring some value to things they don't know, they don't see, and I can give them some information about potential risks, potential resistant points. So it's like knowing the project and its impact on the organization. But another thing is they want me to talk company language. They want me to talk about processes that are in the company. So they want me to understand the culture, of course. And even if they don't say it, if I'm using irrelevant language, I'm not listened to. So again, as a consultant, I go even, like today I have meetings in 2 different industries, and I need to change my vocabulary even that I'm using. So, or even 3, because one is financial, the other is construction, another is mining. So that's what's expected, different processes. So I need to understand it. So these are 2 areas, project and then organization and processes. Then another thing is those executives are expecting us to get structured, go to the point, bring the value, have clarity what is to be done next. And for example, sometimes even the executives are asking what are the next steps. Yes, so project management skills are helpful, and they don't ask for it, but we also need to be structured in change management. So for example, I put on my ADKAR glasses very often, and sorry if it looks a bit funny, but hopefully it's memorable. But still, I put on those ADKAR glasses. This is one of the Prosci models that we use to tell people in a structured way, and also more in digit-oriented way or digital way, about things that are considered to be psychology, are considered to be intangible. So change management structures and methods that help other people to understand what we are doing, what is its value. And last but not least, it's very important to have those people skills. This is super broad topic. We call them sometimes soft skills. Some people in Europe, in the West, they call it power skills, power from the perspective of impact, not from the perspective of hierarchy. But again, it's about interacting with people.
Influencing, a lot of influence goes in.
Influencing, and exactly. So Deshna, for example, when we look into research of Prosci after pandemic, this people skill is really very important, because we are requested from change management perspective to be more relevant in our actions, to be more inclusive in terms of involving people, and also to have more impact on our communication, more adjusted. So again, those people skills and understanding people dynamics is super important. So we have 5 areas then that I mentioned, and maybe let me just display the summary that I have of those areas, because the one thing is those 5 areas, but then the other thing is sorry. Yes. Oh, so I wanted to show you first maybe those numbers what we are talking about in terms of how many opportunities they are for us, let's say, for those skills, just to mention. And you can say, guys, that over last 5 years we have 20 times growth. So whatever you say, Sadeshna, whatever area of skill is needed, we see that it's growing. I made this comparison based on job search results. When I put change management into LinkedIn job search engine, these are the number of results that you have. So 20 times growth over last years. And I even indicated Poland, like, we are 35 million population and 10,000 jobs. Of course, some of those jobs are not purely change management. I just review like 5 or 10 screens, no more. So I can say that between 10 and 20% of those jobs are not for change management, but still it's a huge scale, and 20 times more, even if you take into account LinkedIn that became more popular. And just for your curiosity, guys, I checked the numbers from India. And again, you can just relate to this by yourself, but it's still almost 1,000 hits. 1,000 hits, and Europe in total, you have numbers like this, and UK. So it's growing, and then for whom it's growing. So I put those 5 competencies that I mentioned: project, change management, knowing project, knowing organization, and people-related skills. And I would like to give this perspective. It should look like that. I would like to give this perspective of those 3 starting points for those jobs. Like what I observe, as I mentioned, it's very frequent that I'm working with project management people that are connected with technology, or HR people also connected with organization development, or project management people with other areas like continuous improvement, lean com strategy. And I think before I will answer the question that you asked, I would kindly ask, guys, and invite you to think about it for yourself a little bit, because my observation is that for each role that you are coming from, like I call it static background, you can say you have some natural strengths of competencies, and you can have natural gaps. So I would like to present you the idea, what we want to ask you for, and then colleagues from Mark will just operate the pool. So we would like you guys to think a little bit about what are in those relevant skill areas that we present here for change management. What are your strengths and also what you think are your natural improvement areas or gaps. So I'm passing the floor now to you colleagues for the pool before we continue this discussion. So massive opportunities are coming for various roles, and let's see how we can use those opportunities.
So guys in the audience, so get your phones up. You will on the chat see like this, the link of polev.com/marktransform. If you can go to this, you type this on your web, on your browser to go to polev.com/marktransform. You will find this poll, and what Krzysztof just now said is that these are the areas where we expect the change managers to be good at. So you in the audience, as your natural flair, where do you think your strengths lie? So this first one is on strengths. So please put in your put in your vote as to where do you see yourself at in these skill sets. So which will give us also a good idea about how the audience splits
exactly.
In the whole scheme.
We also have some suggestions and observations, but still it's always great to ask.
So we'll give you 1 minute to just kind of put in the clustering of the strengths as like from the, so we can see maybe we have quite a few people from projects and HR. And your corporate strategy, as you say, like coming in. It has been put into chat as well for getting into that link. Okay, so so we go to the next one, that's the area you find yourself to be not so good at. I am just vote again. If you go to the next one, I have activated the next poll, and the next poll is the area of improvement. Is that the place where you find or you notice that yourself, that where you feel like, in your career, you need help on, let us put it that way. So with that, I'm stopping to share, and I am kind of ask Krzysztof that if you can kind of, like in the strengths, we found most of them in the project management and the people related skill. They were very, very good at that. And the area they are putting at as they need help on other CM tools, that is your change management tools and the maybe knowing the organization.
Yeah, so let's see.
Yeah.
Yes,
let's see what you have from Europe and US.
Exactly. Let's see. And it's subjective, guys. Please treat it as my point of view. One life only, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or maybe 12 hours a day and 6 days a week of doing this stuff. So still is a snapshot. But what I think HR origin people, usually those people were very good at people-related skills, comparable to other areas. So it's strength, definitely, because we are teaching and preaching it. And then knowing organization and processes, usually, like HR business partners, for example, they know very well people they work with, the conditions. Sometimes what is missing is deep going into the project thing and skills in project management. Again, case by case, it could be different, but statistically, I would say it goes towards this direction. Regarding change management tools and methods, it really depends. mostly I would say when I talk to people, they open their eyes, they say, if we knew it earlier, we have known it earlier, would have been better. So that would be my summary. People who come from PM and technology IT area usually have strengths on project management, well-structured, a lot of certifications, and knowing the project. Usually they know very deeply into the topic. Sometimes what they miss is people-related skills. Like, for example, you can have a conversation with good PM who thinks that communication is answering in short, like one-word sentence or two-word sentence, because this is good, concise communication. And sometimes for change management, it's required more. And for example, if we say we need to talk to people to inspire them, then and the communication needs to be storytelling based, then project managers are asking, okay, but where is the fact-based thing? So we can say that even from communication point of view, it could be not enough. So that's why I marked it as an improvement area. And also change management tools and methods, definitely. Most project managers are not that aware, even, and I would like to highlight it, even if in project management body of knowledge, latest, you have even ADKAR model, and you have stakeholder management in all PMI, Project Management Institute documents, and other like IPMA and other standards. And also you have some things about communication. Still, it's not enough for successful change. And then for people who come from continuous improvement, from lean, from comms, from strategy, from RPA, usually I think also good with organization, sometimes very well trained on people skills, sometimes also having, but sometimes not always good understanding of projects. And then still weakness, I would say, sometimes on project management side. But generally, my conclusion is that change management area, in terms of something which is simple, repeatable, light structure, to be helping us to think faster in terms of change and to communicate faster with our stakeholders, is change management. So you can agree, guys, with this or disagree. Probably for each and every one of us, the profile will be different. But what I'm telling to my consultants and what I'm expected from my clients, and what I see also with our customers' organizations, is that you need to have some decent level of skills in everything. So you cannot just be a good on process side on change management, understanding the project, but not understanding the organization. You need to understand, for example, the context and what happened before to those people who are impacted. And we can talk a lot about cases like that. So we need to be mindful about what is our natural strength, skill set, and I would say let's try to be at least good enough in all other areas, with the focus on change management area that really I see. For example, people who are coming on postgraduate classes or MBA classes or for process certifications, and what they say before the class, they say, I would like to get some structure, methodology, some patterns, which I don't know. And then after the class, they say, what I got is more than I have expected. Now I see that those things can work better for me. And of course, it will not make you a change manager and change practitioner, but still it will help you to go to conclusions faster, to communicate to your stakeholders faster, and to be more effective. So that's my thinking here. I would like to share with you guys.
Great. And Krzysztof, I'm taking the role-based questions here,
yes,
where
yes.
people are speaking about roles in particular.
Yes.
We have actually two people from internal comms or corporate communications saying that, how does that role move into change management? So in view of corporate communications, what are their chances of being
Yes.
good change managers? Or they feel like, since they are not external client facing, will that be a barrier? Or, do they have to, or only large companies will be only
Yes.
making them change manager? These were the concerns. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I would generally say there is no reason for none of us not to apply for change management internal job. If we want it, we will make it happen. Really, I saw so different starting points for careers and so many people who were considered underdogs in the organization that they were really willing to bring the value and they were really going forward. So they started, for example, first I became change ambassador for some project, or I just started with some small tasks on communication, or I just helped to resolve some issue in resistance in some team. So then I would say start small, And for comms people, I think especially your skills guys are super valuable because, for example, in big organization, large organization, even creating a distribution list is a topic. Even finding relevant audience to communication is a great topic, and formulating this communication in an effective way, and you know the organization, you know the processes, it's really great. So you have skill set. It's not everything that you need. So still you can evaluate yourself even versus the 5 areas that we mentioned and think, I would rather start from communication. I would simply start with delivering good communication plan that will build awareness about the need for change and will support desire and help leaders to be effective on that, help sponsors to be effective sponsors, and help people managers to be involved. And I would treat it as a starting point, because it's very rare when I see stories like people are coming and saying, hey, I'm communication manager, I would like to be change manager now, take me. No, it's not working like that. You can say, hey guys, I have skills and I would like to improve project in that area, I can help in that area. And I remember a career of one person from comms department. She was asked for helping on projects always late, when something was, like in fire. Yes, exactly. And she was saying like, guys, I would like to get involved a bit earlier. So we discussed once, and I told her, don't ask, just only ask for being present on project meetings for some times, and you will see. So she was there on those project meetings, and after 3 or 4 meetings, regular weekly meetings, she said, I know better what I can do now. And she started to give some ideas. So people realized, for project team, they realized should have invited her earlier. She could give them more advice. So it started small, but it became really big, and now she's a change practitioner in the organization. She's running her own change management initiatives like a change practitioner, but she started small. So definitely you guys have unique competences, and it doesn't matter if you didn't face the customer. I think you always had internal customers. So I'm working with one consultant now who was who was a good PR and HR and communication manager in various stages of his career. And we've been struggling. In fact, I've been struggling with him to go deeper into the topic of the thing, because he was thinking like, I need to communicate things and people will tell me what to communicate. In change management, you sometimes need to tell people what to communicate. You need to go deeper. You need to understand what happens with the people in the project. So I would say from this perspective, once he became more proactive, it helps a lot. But as long as he was not deeply into the project, not understanding the technology itself, but how the technology impacts people and ways of working, it was difficult for him to move forward. So I would say that would be my suggestion, maybe. But again, you can judge or evaluate yourself by yourself. I just can give general ideas.
So yeah, taking from that, there's somebody who's mentioned that in the project management, people have said that change management is a cakewalk. It has not much in it. So what do we make of change management? Is traditionally, if you see, Krzysztof, always change management is communication and training.
Yes,
has been that, but that's why you were saying when a person goes through the whole structure of change management program, they say, oh, it's much more than that. It is way more than that. So do you see that the organizations there are doing more than communication and training now?
Yes. Yes, definitely. But we come here to the role of educator, of change practitioner. So we need to educate organization what it could be. And I have at least 2 lines of conversations meaningful from this perspective. One is with project team. So I need to educate my project team what kind of value I can bring to them. And usually first conversation used to be, we are doing communication, we're doing training, we're doing stakeholder management, what else can you bring? And then after some time is, yes, we are doing stakeholder management, but we have 0 impact on some stakeholders. We have only impact on those who want to work with us. So we can help on this. And I think with project people, it's very frequent question I receive, why the heck you need to have separate change and project management? Change management should be part of project management. And I just ask them question, does it work on your project or not? If not, and majority of answers is not, that's why we need this change management to work. And again, we can name it change management, business adoption, Mickey Mouse, whatever. Still, it should support the people adoption. And then another education layer is with sponsor to help sponsors understand what kind of impact they have, to help sponsors understand what they can do. And I think this is good starting point as well for us to be even more effective. And then if we are allowed by project team to get more information from the project and to understand the impact, if we are allowed from sponsor to be deeper involved, then we can, for example, help people managers to go through the change, and they are another great audience for us to be helped with. So these are the things that we can do for the project. And again, you can say still it's communication, still it's stakeholder management, still it's training, but it's very concrete. And I think when I speak to change practitioners who are successful, they underline very frequently that the part of the reason they are more successful or they started to be more successful from the point where they started to really understand organization, to really talk to people behind the checklist of business impact analysis, communication plan, this plan, that plan. They need to do this as deliverables. But I think, guys, and that's one of the for me, the secrets that helped me to understand better change management, when I realized that the secret is behind those tools, like what conclusions we take from it. So I think, Sudeshna, to be successful here and to do change management, really, it's not only to tick boxes and not only to deliver deliverables by statement of work or whatever we have, but just to do a step forward. After that, what's after that? What is the conclusion? So if we see the impact, what we can do to help those people to get engaged. If we see the blockers on people managers side, what we can do to support it, let's say, their people and to support themselves. So I think if we are very concrete on that, that's what change management is about. And in fact, guys, change management is about talking to people, understanding those people. And of course, oncologists doesn't have to go through all types of cancer to help people. So we don't have to be that deeply, you know, in the organization, but we need to give really advice that is meaningful and adjusted. We really need to craft communication, for example, which is not only telling facts, but which is bringing inspiration to people. So this is the difference between technical change management and real change management, because real change management is just real change that we need to do. So that's basically the thing. I hope I answered this question. And maybe, you know, one more thing, because I see the question, what is the difference between customer success manager and change manager? Yes. And let me refer to the previous question, because this is also showing what change management is. I would say that change management is a strategy and then implementation. So the strategy on change and implementation of the strategy, and exactly customer success manager is usually the one who should take care of the strategy, of the right approach, of pre-sales thing, because even if this is internal project, we need to sell change management. So selling change management, it means that very early at the initiation stage, somebody will analyze briefly what is the impact of the change versus the goal and what kind of value we can bring versus the challenges. So that could be early change management, and that could be mobilizing stakeholders early to do more. So this is customer success manager who takes care about change management to happen early with top stakeholders, and then to install change management on the project, and then to help remove roadblocks. So it's strategic change management. And then change practitioner, change manager could be doing more operational stuff, could be helping in formulating the change management strategy, and then, you know, crafting plans, integrating them with project plan, and then helping other stakeholders to deliver them. Because generally the role of change practitioner is not to be on the stage, is to help other actors to be on the stage. So this is change management, that we help others to shine, and whatever it takes, we stay behind the scene. So that's why change management is also helping others to do the things that we have on the plate, and change management could be considered more operational as customer success management, and customer success management usually starts much earlier. So that would be. So let me just answer as a combo in this way.
Great. So what you are saying, if we are to summarize, that if a person has the competence and the interest and is willing to work on those 5 things, And we are seeing, like in the Europe and in the US, that the organizations are feeling the need to have it as a dedicated resource. And if the person in themselves have both the interest and the competence, then they can go for it. So what elements of the external or the internal environment do you think will go on supporting the role of a change manager to sustain this role, I would say?
Yes, I would say, since I remember my career, I always had to follow changes on customer's side. So, for example, in Central Eastern Europe, there have been massive privatizations after we became independent from Russia. So that was the wave of changes. Like people were integrating their organizations, with Philip Morris structures, with Shell structures, with the same names on our market. Sorry, my Teams is demanding more attention. So no Teams, still Zoom. And then it means like there was a wave of privatization that required some changes, then restructuring, then mergers, then digitization. Now we have AI and robotic process automation some times ago, and probably all the thing about green project management and sustainability now that will be the future, definitely. So we have different waves of changes, and always our job is needed. The context might be different, but still new challenges means new ways of working for people. And for example, if the company like BMW says, we want to be a service company, not car manufacturer only, it means massive changes for the future for the company. And then we just need to be there to help in this context. And I think it can be very rewarding thing and rewarding because, for example, for very seasoned practitioners, sometimes I saw that people who are 15 years, 20 years in the corporation, they have huge knowledge, but they don't want to be in line structure. They would like to bring some expert value and some expertise, so they become practitioners and they help on change. Then for young people, it's great because I love working with people of 25, 30 years old, because they would like to have impact and they have heart for change management. They have great new ideas. And again, for them, it's I have an impact. I think for Gen Z people especially, it's so great to have some impact. And of course, they will not be just change practitioners on the scale of the whole organization, but still they can start with some smaller tasks and soon, really quickly, 2, 3, 4 years, become really good practitioners. And then, for people in technology or in HR or in lean or whatever you can imagine, it's just going for the wider scale, because you can impact the whole organization. So I think for really various roles, it can be very attractive because things are changing, businesses are changing, environment is changing. That's why always change will be with us. So I would say, that's the future that we have.
Okay. Cool. So, like, before just taking the questions, to sum up everything which we are saying is that change is always there in business, but the frequency with which things are happening, or the pace with which things are happening, the impact which is being felt on changes today. The changes of today are like, you are automating everything, you're digitizing everything, you are going green. So it's like the impact you're having on the organization, the scale is at a different level, and hence the need of the dedicated resource to do a discipline in a way which is kept aside from the rest of the functions and allowed to flourish in its own way, so that they are able to do justice to the organization.
Exactly. So, and I think, guys, if I should summarize it, I would say numbers show the need is there. History shows the need is there, and reality shows there is poor delivery still. So huge opportunity for us. Number one. Number two, whoever you are in the organization, you can be change practitioner if you want, if this is what you are willing to do, and if this is something you feel hard for it, I say, really. But number three, there are some competencies, some skills that you need, and whatever you learn about change management, you need to go further, one step further, always. So first, offer your services and help on some scale that you can impact, like, project manager, help him, her, business leader, talk to this person, help him, her as a starting point, but always go further behind your tools and try to show the value that is coming from those tools. So start small. Let's say the need is there, you can do it, but you should start probably small, step by step, and within 2-3 years you will see amazing results, guys. Because now Cristiano Ronaldo earns $500 million from Saudi Arabia, and I'm wondering why it's possible. It's enormous money, but what people say, he is in the right context, because Saudi Arabia now has a strategy 2030 to open for the world and to transform economy from oil-based to service-based. So it will be like probably the job of Cristiano Ronaldo is not to be a football player, to kick the ball and to earn money on that. His job is well paid because he's in the right place with the right skill set, because he will be an ambassador of Saudi Arabia in the strategy they want to implement, or they have been implementing, and he has right skill set. So I would say, let's be those Cristiano Ronaldos of our organizations on our scale, which means use the context, use your skills, and just do great things. And of course, you can question whether it's good for a football player to be a celebrity like that, and if this money is just justified to earn that much money on football. But I just give it as an example that if the right context is there, if we want to do this, we really can do amazing things behind our imagination today. And that's what change management is about. And for me, this is really, guys, sky is the limit for us. This is amazing, especially in today's times when we would like really to get aligned between our values and what we do and in the organization that we are doing. And change management helps to do this. So good luck.
Yeah, we are biased to change management because we believe in it, and we feel
we are.
we are, and we will always say that this the people who you are, if you are somebody who really wants to create impact, this is a place where you can really show the before after very, very well. So we are running out of time, but Krzysztof, we will extend it by 5 minutes because there are many questions. And audience, if we do not answer your question, I personally take it to answer those later on as well.
Yes, I'm happy also to
answer those questions.
Yes. I'm also available for those answers. Yeah.
So I'm just taking those questions as they have come. How change management initiatives can boost employees' well-being? Now, well-being as an area is being looked at and would reflect it in the balance sheet. That is an ROI you are kind of talking about.
Yeah. I saw on LinkedIn something like in deep involvement of people is more important than Friday fruit day or Friday yoga. And I think what we do as change practitioners can really deeply engage people. So sometimes I saw different difficult changes also, different from growth, just the changes in restructuring context. And people really, when they are deeply involved, they can go through hardest times. So I think well-being of employees also depend on how we cope with changes. If people are involved with those changes ahead of a time, they can accommodate to what is coming. Their well-being is just there because we not only talk, but we also do what we tell. So like we say, we involve people really can be involved in those changes, and a lot can be done on that. So that's why all like employee NPS could be higher, employee satisfaction could be higher, and there is even research like when you do robotic automation projects well, employee satisfaction is as high as customer satisfaction, and then employees want to stay in such organizations versus employees really hate chaotic organizations. Employees really hate when things are changed with no justification. Employees don't hate changes. Employees hate when they feel like chaos.
They're left out.
For sure, it's helpful a lot. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, we say, right, that they won't be happy with it, but make them participate.
Absolutely. Exactly.
So we should do all that.
Happy doesn't mean engaged. Engaged is coming from different factors than just being happy.
Yeah, sure. And here we have a question on culture change. How do you manage culture shift in a company? What are the key tasks and how to measure?
Yes. So sometimes culture will be defined by HR projects, new initiatives like new competency models, for example, which names behaviors that we expect. And we can measure the cultural change by the amount of behaviors coming that we would like to have. But it usually is not serving the purpose of having new HR projects, but those HR projects serve the purpose of new business. So, for example, like we can say in SAP, cultural change is about cloud selling, not about some behaviors for the sake of behavior. So that's why we can find some business indicators. And when we define the change, we need to answer the question, what the change brings on the project level, what the change brings on organization level. And if we think about cultural changes, they are also bringing something on the project level, like some artifacts of people behavior, some areas of HR projects, some areas of managerial behaviors, and also on organizational level. Usually it's just to go towards some new business model, towards some new transformation, towards being more, for example, receptive to the market or faster to the market. It's always about business. It's not only about culture for the culture. So that's why, yes, we can try to find relevant measures for that from the business side and from the behavior side always. And it helps, of course, a lot.
Absolutely. Know your goals first. Don't change for the sake of change is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Know your goals and what behaviors will accelerate that, go for that. And what behaviors will inhibit that, take it out. I mean, that way we can put it. We are getting a few questions on certification as to, is it necessary to be a good change manager to be certified as such?
Yes, I also saw the question about APMG versus Prosci, and I will refer to that because I know both. And I have been with Prince 2 methodology because APMG is the creator of Prince 2. So it was created for the purpose of serving, of spending governmental money in the UK. So it had the purpose. And also Prosci methodology had the purpose to bring ROI from change on higher level and to find answers for adoption and usage key success factors. So that's why I would say it's good to have the relevant tools for the relevant challenge. That's why for me as a practitioner first, Prosci gave me what I wanted. Prosci gave me more credibility in front of clients, faster action, and just better understanding what I need to do, better prioritization. So I can say as a practitioner, first I can recommend it, and only I became trainer and instructor of Prosci after that. And I really still haven't found better methodology. There are more robust things, but Prosci is simplicity versus effectiveness. I think that's the best combination. That's why I'm still sticking to that. If I found better methodology, probably I would like to extend my portfolio and vocabulary, but still I think it's just sometimes, you know, in your craft, if you are doing good things with some good tools, it's just good enough. And for example, APMG created change management as something on the top of project management, so it's not research based that much, it's not specialized in change management. So there are some methodologies which are collection of other methodologies, which are just collection of tools. And first I was learning that kind of, personally as well, that kind of approaches, and I was always a bit hungry for something structured. So out of those 60 tools, which 5 I need to use, and in which context, which sequence? So Prosci gives this answer, and some other methodologies don't give that clear answer, but still, of course, there are internal methodologies very well developed in customer organizations, but that's another step. I would really advise anyone who starts, go for APMG if you want. That's always good point. Go for anything that is structured a little bit, but in most cases, you will be hungry for something which is more structured, which says not only inspires you like 8 Steps Kotter, for example, but also gives you answer for the question what to do in which sequence and how to communicate with your stakeholders simply about the value of what you are doing. Yeah. And by the way, Sudeshna, I think it's really good to send all the colleagues that we have on the webinar to Prosci Research. Many chunks of those research are available, even I guess, on your website for free to anyone. And then, guys, you need to you can go for really in-depth insights about what to do and how to do. And I think that's the strength of Prosci as well. That's why it's good to have this certification, not for the certification, because certification will never make you a better person, but a process through which you go, and the keys that you receive and the doors that you can open with those keys really could be really helpful for your career.
Sure. I think we have a few other questions, but maybe there is one on can you do change management ROI? Can you measure? Can you have metrics for change management as such for making it more robust? And rather, do you think where some people have said change management is just a check in the box and all?
Yes.
So do you think these two questions are interrelated, that wherever we have not measured change management, that goes in the check in the box versus
yes,
where
exactly.
Where we are able to do the ROI.
So for example, ROI of change management depends on how many people we can get on board, how quickly and how well we prepare them for the change. So these are the factors we can play around, and we can integrate those factors with project plan. When we need people, by when, how well prepared, whom. So that's the thinking about ROI based on what we said, what you mentioned, Sudeshna, about project goals and the benefits that it brings to the organization. So that's the basics. And then you need to measure where we are today and where we want to be with people progress, which AdCar can help. So AdCar can help you measure how you are doing on the people side with your journey towards ROI. And then you have some other tools that can help you to answer the question how well you are progressing towards the organizational goals and how ready you are for achieving those goals. So definitely, yes, Prosci even helps with that, with metrics. And without metrics now, change management is non-existent. In fact, it's not change management. It's still sorry for the word, like perceived as puffy, fluffy, and psychological.
Yeah.
I have huge respect for psychology. As you mentioned, I'm a coach also, not practicing that much because it just doesn't have enough time. But still, I appreciate neuroscience and stuff like that. But without numbers, we are just blindly throwing topics and ideas on the table and performing tasks, not knowing whether it makes sense or not. So at least if we don't know what to measure and how to understand whether we are going the right direction or not, just try to imagine 2-3 top behaviors that you have today versus what you would like to have in the future, and observe whether those behaviors are appearing that you would like to have for the future. And that would be also your indicator, regardless of any change management methodology, that would be your indicator very quick for the success or not. That's also another way of approaching it.
So we are hearing from a seasoned person, a seasoned practitioner, in fact. Okay, despite about the tools and approach, there are no way you can influence leaders to change their approach. Is this situational, or one should explore organizations that are aware of change management working model? Or, how do we persuade traditional organizations to move to change management?
Yes, I would say one thing, give good benchmark. I remember one industrial organization, very lean, that they had to implement ERP, and they had really very little extra resources to dedicate to the project. So the leader, the country manager of this company told me, if we are not successful for the first time, we will really have huge negative impact on productivity. So what they did, they made a survey in their group globally, and they identified implementations and failure factors, and the differentiation factor was change management. So it was just his curiosity and some external cases. In some cases, unfortunately, you need to observe a failure before you are asked to help. That's also, we were often asked for a second or third attempt for the project because the first or second was not successful. And also what I observe is that sometimes we conduct simply awareness sessions for sponsors. I remember a few cases when practitioners were asking me for 2-on-1 session, practitioner, the leader, the sponsor, and myself. And let's say we were discussing the challenges of the project, practitioner was giving the context, the business leader was asking questions, and I was just delivering some suggestions, let's say, and some coaching and some mentoring. And after 2-3 hour session like that, we had awareness of the leader of the need for change. We had a plan for change management with involvement of this leader. So it's also another way you can raise awareness of your business leaders, but definitely through numbers, cases, business benefits, and through their interests, not just because of change management.
or rather we use here, can we like maybe use another sponsor to influence?
Yes. Oh, yes. That's
all
also a
winning
great idea.
things.
Yes. So find the sponsor who is more prone to talk about it and help. Let's say use the help of the sponsor to reach other sponsors. I also remember a case like that. That absolutely, that's a great approach.
Okay. I think we are 15 minutes over, and I'm overwhelmed to see that most of the audience is still with us listening to it. And I think it is a topic we can go on and on. But as I said, we would get back to you with all the ones which specifically have not been answered. We'll definitely get back to you with those answers.
Yes.
So we round it off with saying a big thank you to Krzysztof. Thank you for being with us, and it has been great. And as like I'm quoting here, I'm quoting Krzysztof here, saying that change will be here until the end of the world and one day more. So we can say, as change managers, you have a long way to go. And yes, if you have the aptitude, if you have the interest, build the competency. Skills can always be gained, and yes, it can be a full-time role which will create impact.
Exactly. And I would like to ask us at Sudeshna that we are people who are crazy about change management a bit. We need to be a bit crazy to convince others. So with this positive craziness, I'm also, guys, open for any contact on LinkedIn. Of course, the best things that you can get on your market is from Sudeshna and the team. But I'm also available like for colleagues, because I consider all of us as colleagues by the profession. So if you want to have answers for those questions from my side, just drop me a LinkedIn email, just message or a LinkedIn message or email. You can find me at Silfra Consulting. So just we are open for sharing ideas, and just if you can be more successful with that, more relaxed and more successful, your stakeholders can be more relaxed and more successful. We are happy to do this because I think it's a part of our contribution to ecology. Just make workplace a better place, because it translates onto our families as well and on our well-being. That's what drives me, for example. So thank you, Sudeshna, for this invitation. Thank you, guys, for all questions, and just do what you're best at. Be yourself, and then bring the value to the organization, and you will see amazing things happening for you as well.
Thank you, Krzysztof. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you so much, guys.
Really, really appreciate it.